Hi, everybody. I'm Corey. Happy to be hosting another Town Talk this Wednesday. Excited to have Peggy and Trevor with me tonight. Hopefully, you were able to tune in last week and catch the other Trevor and our wonderful April and get some insights into that crew. If you didn't see that, you can scroll back the archives and you can. There's a little bit of internal competition going on into who has exciting town talk. I think April feels like she's in a strong pole position. So Peggy and Trevor, I hope you guys are ready for a fun night tonight and to engage and kind of peel back a little bit outside of just the Sunday interactions that we have with you guys. I mean, Trevor, you're up front doing lots of things. Peggy, you're like the orchestra or what's the conductor behind the scenes that makes all this magic happen. I know that Brian would just fall into the ditch without you. And so we're all thankful for your guys' presence in our community. And Trevor's laughing because he knows that's true, right?
We're all,
I'm not saying anything, but I do know Peggy is invaluable.
Absolutely.
No, we have an awesome team.
We do have a great team and it's fun. And Trevor, just to start off, also, compliment you on your great haircut and beard look. It's
yeah, I know we're channeling each other's vibe here on accident.
Yeah. Peggy, I recommend you stay out of that vibe.
I have no desire to be in that vibe.
Yeah.
I have a hard enough time working with Trevor and Brian. Now we're going to add Corey.
I was more thinking, I don't know if the beard's your look, but
it's not my thing.
Yeah.
I would pay to see that though. Let's put you in a fake beard or something.
I would do that.
There you go.
I do have a picture with a mustache though with my grandkids.
That's fun. So, and for those of you guys listening tonight on whichever media platform you're on, make sure to ask questions. That was great to have last week and kind of roll some of those in. And so we can make sure we have your interaction too. So I guess let's just start off the same way. Peggy, why don't you get us going? So when you're not at church, who are you? Like what makes you work? Tell us about your family, those important things to you outside of your day-to-day at Hillspring.
Well, church is definitely a big portion of my life, but I'm married. I've been married for 40 years. I have a son and a daughter, and they're both married and 2 grandsons. So that's definitely a big part of my life. Other than that, I just enjoy being around the house and doing that kind of stuff, being with friends.
And how old are the grandkids now?
10 and 5 next week. Wow. 2 little boys.
That's great.
Very cool.
That's great. Trevor, how about you, man? When you're not plugged in at Hillspring, what are you doing? Who are you hanging out with?
Well, COVID time's a little different than regular lifetime. When I'm not around Hillspring or I'm off, it's been weird with COVID because it's like the hours are all messed up, right? So my kind of typical whatever has been hang out with Jeanette in the evening and we watch a movie or a show or something. And then I don't know, I'll play computer games and go to sleep at some point. I really do like to socialize. And so, we've got a handful of friends. It's been kind of nice with at least the restaurants opening up outside and going out to the patios. And I frequented Lulu's more than I was expecting to. But yeah, just hanging out with friends and, I had family somewhat. I went down on Monday and had lunch with my mom in Hood River, which was really cool. She drove up from Salem and we just met and talked for a couple 3 hours and had lunch together. And
that's great.
Yeah, that's
great. And so
I had an invitation to be at Bonefish tonight, but you guys won out.
Big honor. It's a big honor. Well, and Trevor, we see Jeanette popping in the background and Sunday service, and I think you also have a mutt that makes guest appearances from time to time.
Yeah, she'll probably wander in here at some point tonight and sit down there. Mackay, yep. So yeah, Jeanette's She's a resident at Yakima Valley Farm Workers, and depends on the rotation she's on. She's been working 6/12s, though in the last week they mixed her up. She's doing dermatology now, and it's more clinic hours. So like this last weekend, we snuck away Friday and went camping, came back Sunday, which was a ton of fun. So
wow. So guys, tell me a little bit about what the vortex is, what swirled you into Hillspring, and what was that attracting force that brought you here? So Trevor, I picked on Peggy first last time. Why don't you lead us off with this one?
Sure. Well, so medical residency is a lottery, and you put in and rank all the places you're interested in going, and all the places rank all the people who've applied there, and they feed it all into a computer program, and it spits out God's will for your life. So the Tri-Cities was not our top pick because we didn't know anybody here, and I was with the Free Methodist before. We don't have any churches in the area, and didn't have any friends or family. So Shanette got assigned here, and I was just like, well, I don't know what I'm gonna do. So I kept doing mission stuff and whatever, but then we went and visited a couple other churches, and one day we had left and we're like, this is not connecting. And I said, why don't we just Google churches like around 500 people in the area and see, we want something significant and big, but not huge. And showed up the next Sunday. I pulled up the webpage, and I loved the things it said there about, what the staff had read as books, and started going. And it was sat right behind Edsel White the first Sunday. And so he turned around and started chatting with us, and then drugged me over to meet Brian, and kind of the rest is history. And and then, so working for you, we started coming here, and I was doing stuff with International Child Care Ministries and mission stuff, and was heading down to Honduras for a separate trip. And Brian was like, well, how about if I fly down and talk to you about our ministry down there? And I'm like, sure. And then at the end of that week, he said, you really ought to consider coming on staff. So it's like, well, okay, I'll pray about that. And seemed right.
Wow. So it sounds like the rule then to start everybody off is that their first Sunday they have to sit behind Edsel. Like that's kind of the key, right?
That definitely helps. It's
person bench right behind.
He's Edsel's just warm and friendly and awesome. So he's the kind of guy he can talk to anybody.
And make them feel valued for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Peggy, how about you?
Well, we started actually when we went to Nativity, and we had a toddler and a baby, and things were, like every young married couple, we were having some life things. So we thought we need to start going to church. We thought, let's go back to that church where they had that living nativity. So that's what we did. And that was, a long time ago.
How long ago?
I'm not going to say. But I have almost a 40-year-old, so.
That's great.
But then when the kids, graduated and got married, I had to have something to do. So I just started volunteering. And then it just kind of evolved into a position.
That's great. And so, Peggy, that means that you've been in Tri-Cities for a while, right? Are you born and raised here in the Tri-Cities?
No, actually I was born in Prosser, moved to Warden. It's a little farming community up by Moses Lake and Othello when I was 1, and lived there till I went to college. So pretty much raised there.
Okay. Well, at least, Eastern Washington roots.
Yes,
right?
Yes. But Tri-Cities, it was the big Tri-Cities to me.
The big cities, yeah. And Trevor, how about you, man? Was it, so you guys came here, you didn't know anybody. It wasn't that long ago, but I'm guessing you, especially with your missions, passion, and being involved with the Free Methodist organization, you might have bounced around in a few different spots. Where, when you think of home, what comes to your mind?
Silverton, Salem, Oregon area. I was born in Portland, but we moved when I was about 10 and then settled into Silverton. And that's where I, went through high school and all that. It was kind of my home base for the first year and a half of college till I dropped out. But yeah, and then pretty much lived kind of in the Salem area until I moved to Albany for a while, and spent a year sort of volunteer teaching at a Mennonite Christian school, and lived in a 15-foot travel trailer parked behind it.
Kept expenses down.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, we can only pay you $300 a month, but we'll give you a trailer and somebody will loan you a car, and the Mennonite ladies will give you all the jam you want to eat, which was really good. So, but then fast forward a ways, I ended up moving to Maui to go to Bible college and spent 4 years there, and then moved back to Salem and then got appointed to Lebanon. So lived in Lebanon and Oregon, not the country.
Yes.
And then ended up here.
Well, I'm impressed, man. You get a little golf clap from me that you were actually able to finish college while living in Maui like that. That must take a lot of focus, because island lifestyle is real, right? And so to be able to actually do work while you're there. Good job.
Yeah, I actually got my real estate license, and I worked on the resale market of timeshares. So not the whole presentation stuff, but helping people sell them who had already bought them. And I worked 312s in this office, and so in between people coming in, I finished up my international business management degree online. So I was kind of captive, and then the other 4 days I could play.
Way to go. So Peggy, what's something outside of Hillspring that you're passionate about? You said that, we know that that's a passion for you, that you're there way more than the hours in the job description and whatnot. But if you unplug, what do you unplug into?
My answers are always going to be the same. Was my grandkids. That's what I'm supposed to be doing. So that would definitely be the priority, but they're not living here right now. So I just like my home. I really do. And I love my friends, and we do a lot of social things together.
And you're way better organized with your bookshelf than either Trevor.
And that's another problem with me. You know where you take all those things to figure out the type of person you are? I'm always controller stickler, so.
Well, we need you in there.
I'm not.
Yeah. So Trevor, again, man, you're a guy with your hands dabbling in a bunch of different things. Pick one of those that you like to escape into when you're not throwing a Hillspring hat on.
Well, actually, it kind of dovetails with Hillspring, but I love to travel. I love to see other cultures and other people and other places. If I could just do that half of the year, just bounce around a month at a time to different countries, it would be amazing. But I love going to Africa and hanging out at church there and working along the people and seeing the culture. I love going to the Dominican Republic and meeting my friends down there and seeing that, or going to Honduras, or I love the experience of the bigger picture of humanity. We get so stuck in our little world and our perspective, and you go to Kenya and you ask somebody about Trump, you get a very, very different answer than if you ask somebody here. And not in a political sense, right? They just have a very different perspective on America and Americans, and I love that.
Are you able to, throughout your breaks in travel, are you still communicating with those friends? Are you using social media or email to keep in touch with folks?
Yeah, quite a bit. In fact, then when all the riots broke out here a little bit ago, I had friends from around the world messaging me, and somebody from Hong Kong was like, "I've been seeing pictures on the news. Are you guys okay?" And somebody else from Honduras and somebody else from the Dominican Republic, and I'm like, things are bad when people in Hong Kong are going, I'm really worried about you. But yeah, no, I stay in pretty regular contact with quite a diverse group of people.
That's fun.
Really cool.
Hey, before we get too far off of our journeys and passions, we had a question come in from Debbie online saying, how did you guys meet your spouses? What was the connection that brought you together?
Do you want to go first, Peggy?
Sure. We met on a blind date. I was a paralegal at the time, and my friend, it was the annual Bar Association party at Christmas time. And my friend said, you need to start meeting people. I've got just the person I want to have you meet. So on a blind date at Christmas time.
Wow. Are you still friends with that person?
Yeah. Definitely. Actually, she was my brother's girlfriend at the time, or from high school. So there's times she wouldn't want to be my friend. No, that was in 1975. So it was a long time ago.
Yeah. I met Jeanette first day of Bible college in Maui. It wasn't a romantic thing for another 3.5 years, but she came
finally
up.
Wore her down, is what you're saying?
What?
You finally wore her down?
Yeah, I don't know. It just at some point it worked. We used to go scuba diving and hang out and do all this, go to the beach, and we're all in the same group of friends. And yeah, after 3.5 years, it was like, okay, you're pretty cute. You wanna actually make this a thing? And she said yes. So that was fun.
Perfect. All right, so we'll do some quick questions to ping off and describe yourself. So I'll just hit you, Trevor, in a row with these 4, then give Peggy 2 seconds to think about her answer. So introvert or extrovert? I got another answer.
Actually, so I've taken the Myers-Briggs about 7-8 times officially, because I did a year of it studying it in seminary. And 4 of the times I tested out as extrovert, 3 of them I tested out as introvert.
Crazy.
And so, yeah, I love people, but I also have a thing for just being quiet and being by myself. And I do pretty good at that usually.
Huh. That's a unique quality. Good to know about yourself, right? Mm-hmm. Night owl, morning person. When does the alarm clock go off for you?
If I want to be anywhere before noon, I have to set an alarm.
That makes me laugh.
Yeah.
It's because you're spending 6 hours fixing that hair, Peggy.
Yeah.
No, I am like, if I just go completely on my natural sleep rhythm, I'll go to bed sometime around 2 or 3 in the morning and get up around 10 or 11.
Yeah.
But it's just how I work best. Like I do most of my emailing between like 10 and 1 in the morning, where 10 at night to 1 in the morning. So it's when I quiet and focus and things are simple. And
awesome. Are you in that slightly off kilter from myself sleep cycle? Are you a sugar freak, or are you eating like celery sticks? What's your go-to?
So food for me is either an intentional delicacy or just kind of a boring necessity. So it's one of those weird things about me. I really don't get hungry very often. So, I'll get up at 10, but I don't usually eat until 4 or 5 in the afternoon. I'll have some kind of something, and I try and make it fairly healthy. And then maybe snack again 8 or 9 at night, just a little bit. But yeah, I don't junk food snack. I don't eat carrot sticks. Yeah. But I do love going places that have amazing food. So hey, if anybody wants to go get a ribeye steak or a really fancy burger, I'm perpetually in pursuit of the perfect Reuben. So, I love food, but for the flavor and the experience, not calories.
trying to remember, was it you that was telling me that they're part of a Reuben club? No, it's a friend of mine. He was saying that he's in this group and they go around and they try Reubens and they rate them, and that's like one of their hobbies.
The best one I've ever had so far is from Nana's Irish Pub in Newport, Oregon. And on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being perfect, I'd give it a 9.2.
Pretty solid.
Yeah.
Solid.
If anybody has tips, I'll take them.
Yeah, drop those in the feed, guys. And last one, for your caffeine, do you do caffeine and then are you just black straight up on your coffee, or you fill it full of sugar and cream?
Definitely do caffeine, and I'm black straight up on the coffee. I actually do cold brew for myself here at home a lot of times. But yeah, if I don't have that ready or whatever, I'll brew up a pot. And I know I never drink it after 4 because I have a hard time sleeping. But prior to that, it doesn't seem to really matter how much I do or don't drink. So, I'll cruise through a pot. And then like today, I didn't have any.
Wow. Amazing. Well, thanks for diving into those. So Peggy, your turn. Where do you sit on the Myers-Briggs introvert extrovert spectrum?
I would say introvert. Not everybody probably would agree with me, but it's introvert.
Okay. Do you just fake it well in public? Is that what goes on?
I do. I'm much better in a group of just a few than a big group.
That's understandable. That's good. Night owl or morning person for you?
Morning, definitely morning. That's why I was laughing about Trevor. We're kind of on the opposite there.
Our world only overlaps by like 8 hours.
Exactly. We both look at our clock. Is it a safe time to call?
Yeah. Well, I guess what the nice thing is from like a church perspective, people feel like we will respond any time of the day. Where there's always somebody there. So
we're always covered.
And if you had a munchie on your desk while you're at work, what is it?
Oh gosh. Probably Cheez-Its, Ritz crackers, something like that.
Okay.
I always have candy, but I have a lot of visitors that come to the candy dish. It's not necessarily me.
It seems like there's others that might be snagging.
Exactly.
And yeah, it's a guilty subject. So Peggy, coffee for you? I'm
both. I like just a nice black cup of coffee, but I hate to admit it, but I'm a caramel macchiato girl.
Oh, sugary and sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Too much for me.
It's too much for me, but I sure like it.
Yeah. Well, good. It's good to know how we can treat you sometimes. So Peggy, jumping back. So a question from the audience for you is, okay, first of all, you've got Daryl, Mr. Zoom for your hubby.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us a secret for 40 plus years of marriage. Like,
oh my gosh,
what's your magic sauce? That's the secret question. Everyone wants to know how you do, especially if you're married to that guy.
I don't know that we've mastered it, but we're really good friends. First off, I think that helps a lot. You can overlook a lot if they're just your friend too.
Yeah.
So no, we're doing great.
That's awesome. Oh, and there's a question for who's your guys' favorite redhead that works at church?
There's only one safe answer to that. Love you, April.
We do love April.
We do love April. I think she's just looking for a plug so she can say that she's in pole position on best interview so far, but we'll see.
Yeah, which speaking of that competition, for all you watching, would you share this video a lot?
A lot.
Because that'll push it up in the rankings.
Yeah.
But we still see a different April than she was on screen. We love April.
Absolutely.
That's great. So tell us about Tri-Cities. So Peggy, I'll start with you this time. What's your favorite restaurant in town? You and Daryl
Um,
gonna go out somewhere. Where do you go?
well, I'd like to go anywhere right now, but I like Fat Olives a lot.
Mm,
Hmm.
fun one. Um, do you have a favorite walk, hike, outdoor spot that you head to?
I like to walk down by Howard Amon, and actually, I like to walk in my neighborhood. We've got a lot of Hillspringers that live in my neighborhood, so it's fun to see them out in their yards.
It's kind of like
Right
this
now, we just kind of wave, but yeah.
social circle. So in the Tri-Cities, what's something that's been a highlight for you this past year? I mean, with all the COVID, everything obviously is a little bit offset, but in other ways, it's given all of us a chance to maybe find out something different about the Tries that we wouldn't have known otherwise.
To me,
Yeah.
um, gosh, I don't know. It's been such a crazy year. Um, the one thing I have really loved is seeing Jeanette in the background at worship. That's been new for this year.
Yeah. Um,
Trevor's the one that's new to the Tri-Cities. He can answer that.
yeah. Okay. Well, we'll ping him in just a second. So what's your, if you could bring one thing to the Tries that we don't have today, what would that be?
We're dreaming.
Yeah, we're dreaming.
Well, I have a child in Seattle. I have a child in Eugene. So I want Eugene and Seattle to come to the Tri-Cities.
Grandkids, common theme. Okay.
Oh yeah, I'll take the kids too, but definitely the grandkids.
Yeah. No, having being in that middle role of a parent and seeing the grandparent pull, I'm fully aware that we as parents count for nothing, and it's all about the
Exactly. It's like, well, you would have never done that with me.
Yeah. The sooner you realize it as a parent, also the faster you can take it to your advantage.
Exactly.
So Trevor, how about you? You said you've been hanging out at Lulu's a lot. Is that just because the best outdoor patio seating, or what's a favorite spot for you?
Yeah, I mean, they've got pretty good hamburgers, but actually, probably my favorite place in town is Twigs so far.
Yeah.
I love their hamburger there is amazing, and also found probably the best burger in the area as at Waterbrook Winery, in my personal opinion. On the way to Walla Walla, they have incredible hamburger there.
Huh. And they also have good wine. I know Amber found, oh man, it's one of their whites the other day. She was a big fan of that. So maybe we'll have to make a little trip. Do they do outdoor seating right now? Can you go get a burger?
Yeah. Shanette and I've gone with some friends a couple times. We take the dog and sit outside and have lunch. And anyway.
Perfect. They might see a little flock of Hillspringers coming. How about you? Are you so new to town, newish? Are you doing the river walk? Are you hiking Badger? What do you guys do when you need to be outside for a bit?
I'm definitely, I mean, just schedule wise and whatever, more the outside walking person. Jeanette's pretty busy, but so if I just want to go do like kind of a leisurely stroll or take photos or something, I'll go down to Bateman Island with Mackay, though not during high tick season because I came back with 20 some of them on me one time. But if I just want to like get out and see things, I'll hike Horse Heaven Hills over here. I can do a loop and 45 minutes or something and sweat really good and have some nice views.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so Peggy wasn't sure on this one. Is there a surprise for yourself in the past year that you've learned about the Tri-Cities, or a new area in town that you didn't know about?
The thing that came to mind when you asked that is, man, I sat out here and watched the thunderstorm roll through a week or two ago, and it was just beautiful and awesome near sunset and lightning and flashes, and it was just like, man, we don't get lightning storms in Oregon, so those will always just amaze me. And I know I may get lynched for this, but I love the snowpocalypse a couple winters. That was amazing.
No.
So
you might be one of the few with that opinion of a great natural.
I also spent 5 weeks of it in Honduras and Dominican Republic, so there's that. But it was amazing.
Yeah, I hear you.
I was thinking after watching the news tonight that we are very fortunate where we live. My gosh, down in Louisiana and New Orleans right now is such a mess. It's like, man, we live in a great place.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you think of all the benefits of the outdoors that we have, and yet how in the range of seasons, and yet, we don't have tornadoes, we don't have hurricanes. We get, smoke from forest fires, but no one has to worry about their house burning down. And
no earthquakes.
Yeah, so we are very lucky. All right, so last one on this one for you, Trevor. What would you bring to the Tri-Cities if you had your magic wand? What would you have presto down into town?
Oh, it's a little less magical than Peggy's, but I would love to have it in and out here. double animal style with animal style fries. That's a good day.
It's a good day. You can't have those very often, or else you won't have many days left. But
right, that's true.
it is a pretty wonderful thing. Amber and I lived for 1 year with an in and out inside a walking distance of our house.
Oh my.
That wasn't good for me. I loved it. So lapsing a little bit into some Hillspring stuff. So Trevor, one of the questions that came in is a lot of your little clips in the sermons that we've been doing have some humor to it. Are you the inspiration for that? Are you coming up with that on your own? Is that Shanette, or where are you getting that inspiration from?
Well, the Shanette in the background of the closing credits and stuff, that was actually her. I was filming the first one and, kept doing retakes. So I was trying to have Makai and anyway, but I kept doing all these takes. So we had some costumes and Shanette went and put one in and then photobombed the take. And it was like, that's awesome. Let's keep that. So now it's more collaborative. We get some costumes and go, okay, what do we want to do with this, or how's this going to work, or how does this tie into what we're talking about this week? And so that's definitely collaborative. But no, I'm a big fan of humor. I read a statistic that the average child laughs between 100 and 300 times a day, and the average adult 15 to 100. And it was like, I like that. Just fun, seeing life, being surprised, looking at things just slightly off. It's really off. So.
Oh, we appreciate it. We appreciate it. So, because I know you guys wear a lot of different hats at Hillspring, tell us what some of those hats are. Peggy, maybe let's start with you. What, maybe first of all, we know you, we see you there, but we might not even know what your official title and role is. So tell us what that is and what some of the things that encompasses for you.
I'm the executive pastor, and I oversee the operations of finance, property, human relations, just everything on the administration side of it. Work with the committees like elders, HR, again, property and finance. So I have those people to rely on, which, Corey, thank you for all the help you give me. And I pretty much an assistant to Brian. So it's a full plate.
A very full plate, I can So Trevor, probably aligning with some of the earlier conversation, I'm guessing a lot of administrative details isn't your official bailiwick. Tell us about your role and what you do.
So if Peggy's the hard-nosed version of all the details, I'm the soft paintbrush version. I'm really basically my job's to kind of get the spiritual flow, direction, kind of feel of the ministries and various ways in the church kind of heading in the same direction. So I'm in a fancy title of pastor of spiritual formation, but basically the idea of how do we help our church and the people in it spiritually grow, cohesively together and then also individually. So yeah, there are some little logistical details, but I'd say, hey Peggy, can I spend this money? And she says yes or no.
So you're working with Grimelda and Justin and Brian and trying to make sure that the activities coordinate, or help us a little bit more. Like when I hear spiritual formation, I think maybe like a Play-Doh man or something like that, but that's probably not it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of different aspects to that. So, like I help with small groups and picking out curriculum and kind of where's that going, and then coordinate with Brian. Okay, what's the message is going to look like for the fall, and how are we going to put those together so that people can kind of walk this central idea. It does everything from I chair or direct the kind of marketing planning strategy meeting for our online stuff. So, April does our social media stuff and Trevor does the video, and, what are the pieces and who do we need to have involved, and, kind of help keep that flowing in a cohesive direction. Long-term planning, mission stuff or strategy with the M25 board. How are we connecting with Honduras? What does that look like? What does that relationship continue to look like? I also work with Gene with After School Matters, and okay, what are we doing there and how are we going to accomplish it, and that kind of stuff.
Well, so that's probably a good tie-in too with the taking your prior startup really that you had on the mission field, and then finding a way to encompass that and bring that into Hillspring, right? And it's awesome to see. In the near future, post-COVID crisis, we'll have more opportunities for folks to engage with that. So that's been awesome to see. Tell us a little bit on how you spoke to it just a little bit, but how's your role changed with the online restructuring? Like what's different about your day-to-day the last couple months than 6 months ago?
Peggy's gotten really good at talking to the government.
Yeah. No, so I've just done all that kind of background stuff with the, like Trevor said, government stuff. And so the online part hasn't really affected me too much, but the day-to-day has on what I do, because I'm not having people come into my office, which is a big part that I miss actually. And so it's just a lot of Zoom meetings and phone calls, but still not the same.
Yeah, and the same for me. The thing I love most about ministry is the sitting down with people and talking one-on-one about spiritually where they're at and how they're doing and what's going on, and kind of help guide and offer some suggestions and ideas and just walk with people. And that's been a lot more complicated to do during this whole time. And a lot more of marketing kind of strategy, like how do you negotiate Facebook world, and and then the bigger question that just kind of sits in the back of my mind all the time is, okay, so even if we get people engaged or people are acting, are we spiritually doing anything good? Like, are we actually helping people grow, or are we just entertaining them? And the answer is yes, I believe, but that's definitely changed. Thinking about most of the ministry that we're focused on has been online now, and how does that play out? What does that look like, and how does that actually translate into real change?
Yeah, well, Well, hey, I guess that's why we're happy you're the pastor spiritual formation, so you can think about those questions and make sure we're headed in the right direction. So I'll encourage, so we're almost at the 45-minute mark. So I'll encourage people in the audience, if they have any questions they want to slip in before we wrap up, to get them in there. But let's do a fun one. So you both work super close with Brian. Brian has some great sayings and expressions. Pick a personal favorite, Peggy.
Well, it is a personal favorite because he loves to call me Pegbert.
Yeah.
And I love that. So
definite term of endearment for you.
Yeah. Depending on how he's feeling about me that day. Sometimes it's Peggy, sometimes it's Pegbert.
Trevor, how about you?
I don't know if I have a particular expression that I think of. No, not really. I mean, honestly, Brian and I work great together, but we're also friends, primarily. And so most of our conversations, we're over Messenger or texting or just talking. And I can't think of like a particular phrase, but
He'll say, "Does that make sense?" a lot.
that's true.
Well, that's good. That's good. Good to be asking. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
But all three of us have a lot of fun. Brian, Trevor, and I have a lot of fun together.
Yeah. Yeah, we have our executive staff meeting once a week. We all sit in there, and very rarely do we leave not laughing.
Yep, exactly.
You're working your way up to 300, right? So getting your 300 laughs in for the day. So with COVID, we've heard about how that reshaped some of your work stuff, how it's making you ask different questions. What's something fun that you've taken up or discovered about yourself over the past several months that you wouldn't have done without COVID?
Well, I've figured out that I have far less of an internal like structure than I thought I did. If I mean, the staying up late and sleeping in and that kind of thing is not normally something I can do to that extent. And I've really moved into that, which has been kind of interesting. And then hobby wise, like I said, I've been playing computer games lately, so that's been kind of fun.
So you've turned into a high schooler, is what I'm hearing.
Basically, yeah. But and actually the other thing that I have been doing is I've really been very intentional about reading a lot of different news sources. And so I have notifications on my phone for Fox News and CNN and BBC. And I've even more than I ever have in the past in the last 6 months or so. Like when I read a story from one perspective, I try and go find information from another. So that would be a healthy thing that has come out of this for me. Just trying to disentangle myself from the machines and say, okay, so where are the pieces falling into place here? Because it's really easy to get unintentionally ignorant.
Yeah, absolutely. Great perspective. Peggy, how about you? Something you've discovered?
I've discovered that I really like reading now outside, where I've never really had the time to do that before. And we just redid our patio. So it's just nice to go out first thing in the morning and read. And I've really enjoyed that.
And what book?
And I'm cooking and baking more, which is probably a good thing. I've been kind of neglectful about that, but I'm trying to do better.
So what book are you reading right now?
I'm reading a book that we might use as a all church book.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, so it's good.
Well, that's great to hear. So guys, anything else you want to share? Questions I didn't ask you that you wish, oh man, he really should have hit me up for that one because I'd knock it out of the park.
Oh, I got a whole list of those, but you know, duty calls, time marches on. No, I mean, I would just say from a personal perspective, I really feel God has led me and us to this church, and I have been really impressed with, even people who have more than most are willing to roll up their sleeves and get dirty and go out and connect and love and reach out and make themselves uncomfortable for helping others. And it is a rare and unique church that does that in its culture, in my experience. I've been 15 different denominations for 3 months or more, and there's something really unique and cool about this place, and I've loved being part of it, and connecting here.
Awesome. Peggy, any last thoughts?
Yeah, I'd just like to have a little shout out to Trevor. I live through Trevor because I just admire so much his love for missional work. I'm kind of a homebody, stick in the mud, but he just thrives on that stuff. So I just love to hear all his stories about the different countries and the people he's met. It's been awesome to work with him.
Wow,
That's great.
thank you.
It's
Yeah.
awesome having that perspective
Mhm.
as part of our body. So,
Mhm.
well, guys, thanks so much. It looks like the audience has fallen asleep, or hopefully they're busy just liking it and sharing it, so you guys can pull into that front slot. So, thanks again for giving us a little bit of insight into who you are when you're not those smiling faces in front of us on the video right now. I'd say, with greeting us walking into church, but hopefully that'll be back soon. So,
Thank you to you too, Corey.
What's that?
Thank you to you too. You're a big part of us.
No, of course.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. Well, you two both have a wonderful evening, and wonderful evening to everybody else out there that's watching us. Thanks so much, guys.
All right. Bye, all.
Bye.